Did you know that swamp today is 80% unexplored? In 1885, Congo in Africa was taken over by Belgium, and it was called the Belgian Congo for many, many years. In 1960, the communists liberated them. You know how the communists liberate countries. They kill everybody. Okay, you're free now. Yeah, anyway. There were reports in that swamp from the 1700s when the missionaries went in there and said, man, there are dinosaurs still living in that swamp. Dinosaurs still alive? 1910, New York Herald ran an article about dinosaurs still living in Africa's swamps. Here's a Saturday Evening Post, 1948. There could be dinosaurs still alive in Africa. A big game hunter named Mr. Gobbler returned from a trip to Angola. He announced to the Cape Town newspaper, the Cape Argus, that there was an animal of large dimensions, the description of which could only fit a dinosaur. The natives call it Chippewa. In Central African Republic, they call it Nguri. Roy Mackal went there in 1980 on an expedition. He spent $250,000, went back again the next year. He went to that swamp. He said it's the most miserable swamp on planet Earth. The mosquitoes landed on them at the rate of about 1,000 an hour constantly. I mean, like swarms of dust around you. Bloodthirsty mosquitoes. 95 degrees, 95% humidity all the time. As they traveled around the swamp, the natives talked about this animal called Mahamba. He said, what's that? And they showed him a crocodile. Oh yeah, that's the Mahamba right there, Mahamba. He said, how big does it get? They pasted off on the sandbar, 50 feet long. Now, if you're a pygmy, 4'4", a 50-foot crocodile looks really big to you, okay? And everybody says, no, crocodiles, they never get past about 17 feet. Oh, I don't think that's correct. Earlier in the summer of 2005, they killed a 24-foot crocodile in that swamp. Of course, the natives will say, oh, you should see the big ones. The natives also talk about an animal they call Mokele Mbembe. Mokele Mbembe? What on earth is that? Well, if you show them the picture of an apatosaurus, they'll say, yep, that's it, Mokele Mbembe. The natives claim these animals live underwater. They're very rare. Of course, they're in the swamp in Africa, and nobody goes out at night anyway, and there's no lights over there at night. But the animals are seen mostly early morning or late in the evening when they come out, and their favorite plant is the Malombo plant. There's Dr. Mackal holding a Malombo plant. Dr. Mackal was a University of Chicago microbiology professor, and he went over there and studied this carefully and came back and wrote a book called A Living Dinosaur. Now, he believes in evolution, but his book is great about the evidence for dinosaurs still living in African swamp. They found footprints of the creatures. A missionary friend of mine was there for 43 years as a missionary, Eugene Thomas. He's in Ohio now. Here's his phone number. Call him up. He was there for 43 years. He said, I had 2 pygmies in my church. It killed one and ate it. Dinosaurs. There have been reports of these creatures in that swamp for a long time. One Belgian Congo biologist went up there, upriver 500 miles from his house and he said he saw one, but his camera malfunctioned because the high humidity apparently ruined all the mechanisms inside. I don't know. But there have been many reports of dinosaurs in that swamp, and you can study this for yourself. One group went there, and they said the creature was dark brown in color. The skin appeared slick and smooth, had a long neck and a small head. They heard it, they saw it. It was making a roaring noise, and the government officials even saw it. There's an article here in the Boston Herald newspaper about a group going over to look for the dinosaurs still alive in the Congo swamp. All you got to do is type in cryptozoology. Crypto means hidden, zoology means study of animals. Cryptozoology, you'll find all kinds of stuff about dinosaurs still living. The natives claim these animals live in caves along the side of the river. William Gibbons has been there 4 times now to the Congo swamp. He and I wrote this book together for kids, Claws, Jaws, and Dinosaurs. William Gibbons wrote me a letter. He said, according to our guide, Pierre Sima, we were the first white men to actually penetrate the forest and swamps bordering the Boamba River. Our informants, almost all of them Baka pygmies, with the exception of an elderly Cameroonian Muslim, are perfectly familiar with all the known and unknown animals of the swamps. While they do not regard Lakila Mbembe, it's a different language, okay, as being an unusual animal, they do fear the creature because of its ferocity in attacking hippos, elephants, and crocodiles. The animal appears to be completely intolerant of any other large creature that shares the river and controls large stretches of the river, particularly where the food supply is present. The 2 suspected dinosaurians, Mokele Mbembe and Ngubu, are observed and encountered on a regular basis. I questioned an older Baka couple that work on Pierre's plantation. Like most pygmies, they are very familiar with the flora and fauna of the region. I presented them with our book of known African animals and dinosaur illustrations. About 98% of the dinosaur illustrations were rejected, except for 2, which they picked out without hesitation, that they had observed: a sauropod dinosaur and a triceratops. Now, why would people in the middle of the swamp in Africa say, oh yeah, we've seen that one? Missionary Cal Bombay was there for years in Kenya. He said he and his wife saw one of these creatures, but the plates on the back were bigger, more like a stegosaurus. Down in South America, they've got the Amazon jungle, which is huge. In 1907, the British Army sent Colonel Fawcett to mark the boundary between Brazil and Peru. He was an officer in the Royal Engineers and was known as a meticulous recorder of facts. In the Beni swamps, he said he saw what he believed to be a diplodocus. The natives and the tribes around there say, oh yeah, that animal still lives out here in the swamp. Colonel Fawcett's son made sketches of the footprints. In 1883, Scientific American ran this article before they got committed to evolution. An article like this would never make it in Scientific American today, because now they're dedicated to preserving the theory. But they said the Brazilian minister at La Paz, Bolivia, had remitted to the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Rio photographs of drawings of an extraordinary saurian killed on the Beni after receiving 36 balls. By order of the president, the dried body, which had been preserved and was sent to La Paz. It was 12 meters long, 39 feet, from snout to point. It had scale armor. The neck is long, the belly large and almost dragging the ground. Professor Gilvetti examined the beast, said it's a member of a lost species. The Indians in that region make small earthen vessels in the same shape, probably copied from nature. Dinosaurs? Vaughn Goff called me 3 days ago, because I was driving up here to Indiana. He said, yeah, the natives in his area talk about a lizard that's 30 feet long, 5 feet tall, makes a thundering noise to startle its prey. The native Wai Indians call it Uru Feri, and they are terrified of this creature. Here's his email, vaughn@goffministries.org. Email him. They talk about dinosaurs still in the swamp down there. Here's a giant snake that was killed several years ago, 35-foot snake. It had eaten a man who fell asleep on the job. Stay awake on the job, fellas, okay? This snake was reported in Indonesia being 49 feet long. I don't know if it's true or not, but I mean, people might have exaggerated, but that's the reports of a giant snake down there. Colonel Fawcett said he killed a 62-foot anaconda snake. And the natives were terrified. They said, Colonel, if there's one, there's going to be another one. The officials of Brazil-Colombia boundary in 1933 killed a 98-foot snake, 2 feet in diameter, weighed 2 tons. The cook from a hotel in Amazon said they saw a 100-foot snake that the military hunted down after it had killed and eaten 2 soldiers. The head was 5 feet long. Reuters News Service reported a 130-foot snake back in '97. This thing floated down the Amazon River. Nobody poked it to see if it was alive, but they reported it's over nearly 150 feet long. Amazon River is huge. Halfway up where a former student of mine was a missionary for years, he said the Amazon River way back here is 9 miles wide. That's a big river. There's a lake in Scotland called Loch Ness. Has anybody ever heard of Loch Ness? Loch Ness is a huge lake, 24 miles long, 1 mile to 1.5 miles wide, up to 900 feet deep. Loch Ness is big enough that everybody on planet Earth could go drowned in it at the same time. It would hold the entire population of the world. 6 billion people would fit in that lake. It's huge. In 1933, a roadbed was cut into the side of the mountain, because before 1933, if you wanted to see the lake, you got